Thank you. And here we are, the Chief Agricultural Division, located in Kearney, Nebraska. I have a special edition video for you guys. So as you know, in the past, I've taken some tours of things. For example, do you remember when Grant and I were in Texas and we toured the cotton gin? So today I am at Chief. The shop that Grant and I work out is actually a Chief building. But today I'm at their Kearney location where they manufacture grain bins, which I've been working around a lot since I've been hauling in my beans from last year that I sold. And then they also manufacture the aeration systems for bins here. So those are those big fans you see on the outside that keep fresh air into the bins and take out old air and circulate the air in bins. So I'm going to be getting a tour today and you guys are coming along with me. Grant's here too. But essentially this is 165,000 square feet of pure awesomeness is kind of how I describe it. It's really fun for me to get away from the farm every once in a while like this on an afternoon and see different segments of agriculture. So here we have raw materials starting out over here, and as they work their way towards the end of the building, they slowly become processed. So we've got sheet metal, we've got those big coils over there. They work 3 shifts of production. Stuff is always moving and working around here. Hence the safety glasses. Here we're seeing a CNC machine in action. Very cool. I remember seeing something not quite to this scale, but at Patriot Ag. Do you remember that? They sold seed tenders and then also that corn reel that Grant and I used this year. Essentially, it takes the raw material, the sheet metal here, picks it up, puts it on this table, and this giant punch creates all the different pieces that they need out of that piece of sheet metal. Brand new, this machine retails for $1.5 million. And there's a few of them in here. Same basic principle here, except instead of a punch, it is a laser. This thing can handle up to 1 inch thick sheet metal. All right, so obviously, sheet metal just flat doesn't do a whole lot of good, especially when we're talking about a round grain bin. They're circular. And so once parts have been processed, and they're all flat, all punched out, then they come to this area over here. So we've got 2 of these smaller presses, and then a medium-sized press, and then the big one. This thing can deliver 300 tons of force down. So it can probably pinch your finger, I'd say. I would stay a safe distance away from this one, but seriously, it can bend super thick metal. All right, so moving on from the more raw materials processing side, we're going on to the handling. So over here, we have our welding area. This thing has 2 enormous robots in there that are welding. Right now, they're welding drag chain together. And then all the other parts, so we've got stabilizers for grain bin roofs. We've got rings that go around grain bins. Back there, I think, are grain bin doors. But this is where all the welding takes place. Everyone cover your eyes, it's kind of bright. Okay, next we're moving on to the fan manufacturing over here. every single fan they make gets actually tested under the different circumstances for the different kind of pressures that the fan would be under. So they test the axial and inline fans over here, and then over there they test the centrifugal fans. They have a fan for just about every application, from the small on-farm ones to the giant commercial bins. They all need fans. I think I found a new sign to hang in the shop. This thing is roughly from the 20s, yes, not the 2020s, but the 1920s, and it is to make corrugations in steel and metal, and I think that's pretty nifty. A lot of the safety things, like the guards, have been added on later because I don't think they cared too much about keeping all your fingers in the 20s, but super cool. I hope you guys are enjoying this tour as much as I am. It brings me so much joy to see the different facets of agriculture because as much as I want it to be, farming is really not just sitting in a tractor cab all day long or even doing office work, but all of these things come together to make agriculture. And not even just like corn and beans, but they're talking about like pistachio storage. Has anyone ever thought about how you store pistachios? I haven't, but now I'm curious. So I just really like to bring you guys along on things like this because it's like I'm on an episode of How It's Made. Anyone remember that show? I love that show. And here we come to the actual bin sheets, like the sides of the actual bin itself. The actual process of this, I can't show you because it is proprietary. Trust me, it's super cool. However, none of this is inventory. These are all sold bins. They can hardly keep up with order and demand. And so once we come down over here, we are finishing all of our manufacturing and we are down to the very end of the plant. And now we come to the finishing and shipping. So in the containers and pallets over there, we have all the small pieces and like the nuts and bolts and stuff like that. And then we come over here, and for the grain bins that are being delivered in the United States, they go on these Chief trailers because Chief actually has many divisions and one of them is the carriers. So they go on Chief trailers and you can see these things going down the road. If they are going out of the United States to say Canada or Mexico, then they get put on like, you know, the 53-foot trailers that you see going down the interstate all the time. And then if they are going anywhere overseas, they get put on the big shipping containers that go on the big ships. Before we ended the tour, I thought it was necessary to show all of the nuts and bolts. Now, they said this is the lowest inventory they've ever had. It takes a lot of bolts to put a grain bin together. Also across from them is a metal recycling factory. That is so much irrigation pipe. We just want to give an enormous thank you to all of our friends here at Chief, all the different segments of it, from agriculture to the carriers to, my goodness, all the different facets. But they did such a great job giving the tour today, and I hope you guys learned something. I know I certainly did. So thanks for tuning into this episode of Laura Farms, How It's Made. We'll see you next time.
And I think if you guys really liked it, I think they're looking for people to work there. I think they have like one or two openings.
I think I heard they had 25 job openings. They've got locations in Kearney, Grand Island, all over the place. So if you're a Nebraskan who's looking for a job, hit up Chief. It's a great place to work.
Tell them Laura Farm sent you.
Please do. All right. See you guys.